What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to the Crypto Catch Up, of course, your favorite channel to catch up on crypto. Now, look, in today's video, what I wanted to do is kind of just wrap up the week with a summary of where we are in the market in general. You know, we've seen some big news this week that we've covered, but things have somewhat slowed down as the weekend has approached. And going into the weekend, I want you to just fully understand where this market's at, what I'm expecting, and much more. And so with that said, of course, guys, let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into the video. Now, overall, it has been a rather rough 24 hours, and this week itself hasn't really been that great. It's not been terrible, it's just not been that great. You know, 7 days percentages, we're seeing Bitcoin down 4%, we're seeing ETH down 0.6%, so rather break even. BNB barely up, Solana down 10%, a little ugly there. XRP down, TON down, Doge down, Cardano down, right? The majority of our cryptos in the top 15 and top 10 are down, and that also does apply on the weekly crypto bubbles. As you can see, we have a few like ZEC, Phantom, Aave, and a few more that are positive on the week, but realistically, I mean, it's not been the best week for us. We have things like WIF, Jupe, Brett, and Op, and Tau, and many more down anywhere from 10, 15 to 20%. So it's been a rather ugly week, and realistically, I don't think that I don't think that it's rather justified, to be honest. You know, I've held pretty strongly to the conviction that I think where we are in the market right now is an overreaction. I think people are a little bit oddly bearish. I think that people are a little bit unnecessarily fearful, and sure, there are thoughts that a recession may be declared, and I've said it throughout this week multiple times that realistically where we are right now is not worse than where we were a year ago. That's just the fact of the matter. And so because of that, yes, I believe this is an overreaction, and I think that there is some weird stuff going on here. I'm not going to say it's manipulation, but I definitely think that people are just overreacting. I just don't think this is there's not enough valid bad things happening right now to cause such a reaction in the market like this. And this can even more clearly be seen from the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. I mean, if we just kind of focus in on where we are right now, these blue lines represent the Crypto Fear and Greed Index on a daily basis. And we have been just dropping like crazy, spending so much time in a time of fear. And the craziest thing is that if you look at the last year, again, we spent less than 35 days in fear and extreme fear. And the craziest part is we spent like 15 of those days, 20 of those days, just in the last few weeks in fear. To me, it's just an overreaction. To me, it doesn't make a ton of sense. And sure, there are some things that are happening. For example, there's, the government possibly selling $600 million worth of Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, when you look at the inflows on a weekly basis from these different companies, we're absorbing that like crazy. And if you think they're selling that immediately or all at once, you've just not seen how they do these things before. And so because of that, sure, I understand why people might be a little uncertain, but this level of fear is insane. Now, obviously, if I'm personally feeling as if this uncertainty is irrational, then clearly that does mean to me that I think that this is a good time to be buying cryptos. Now, it's not only just from a fear perspective, there are some other things that are pointing in the direction of saying this is at least a decent time to buy crypto. Not the best, right? When we fell under 50K, that was the best time recently to buy crypto, but I do think this is a decent time to buy crypto, especially Bitcoin, as we are, around $57,000, $58,000. Now, a couple of those things really do revolve around what we're seeing from the liquidations, okay? If we look at the liquidation map currently, on the daily perspective, things are a little bit balanced, meaning that this market easily could fall to 54 just as easily as it could pump up to 61,000. So there's not a lot of clarity of what's going to happen on the shorter term time frames. But if we do zoom out to the longer terms, right? If we go to the weekly, what you can see, substantially more liquidations that happen to the upside. And remember, this market typically moves in the direction of the most liquidations over a longer period of time. And so in a moment like this, when we see liquidations this high on the 7-day, that does mean in general, over the long term, we should see it push upwards. Then especially if you look at the 30-day, look at how many more liquidations happen if this market moves up towards, say, 65, 66,000. So not to say it's going to happen now, not to say it's going to happen fast, but I do think it's going to happen at some point, and a lot of people are getting this wrong, in my opinion. Now, another cool thing that we can do, we've been looking a ton at this visual screener, and this is honestly a really cool thing that allows us to get an understanding of what people are doing. And as you can see right now, most people are closing down their long trades and entering into short trades on the vast majority of their cryptos. And what typically happens is, as this happens, it causes more liquidations to the upside, remember, because people are shorting, betting the market's going to go down. So if it goes up, they lose and they get liquidated, right? And so this is even further conviction that the vast majority of cryptos, people are betting it's going to go down, betting that it's going to fall. And because of that, typically they're just wrong. And it's just what happens. Now, from that perspective, obviously, sure, it could go down. And like I keep saying, if we do look at the liquidation map on the dailies, it could go down. We could see this go to $54,000 and start executing on these liquidations. But there will be moments, in my opinion, in which we bounce back up to 60, bounce back up to 62, or maybe even break through this macro structure we're in right now and continue back upwards to liquidate all of these people because they're setting themselves up for failure. People are forgetting we're in a bull market. And what we've been doing over the last 4 months has happened in every single bull market we've seen in the last 8 years. So I think it's an overreaction. And so when you look at the liquidation history, when you look at the liquidation data, and then you match that in with the fact that people are overreacting in terms of fear, they're overly fearful right now to a weird degree, I definitely do think that this is a decent time to start dollar cost averaging. Again, not the best time ever, but surely a decent time. And I think historically, when we look back at where we are right now, people will say, oh, that was probably a good time to have started trying to, get in. Now, the last thing that I do want to show you is the fact that our average RSI is now also almost back in weak territory. And on the weekly basis, and that means that on average across our top, I think this is the top 100 or 150 cryptos, the average RSI is now pushing near what many consider to be a good buy zone, and then of course the oversold territory being a great buy zone. So we're still in this little decent territory, but we're almost to this good buy zone, which is the weak buy zone, once we do see it fall below 40. And so that is a good sign to me, again, that this could be a decent time to accumulate. So everything in my opinion is pointing to the fact that this is a good time to start dollar cost averaging, and so that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So throughout the weekend, I am going to be doing some DCAs. Nothing huge, nothing spectacular, because again, we bought Bitcoin under 50, we bought Solana under 120, we bought Ethereum at around, I think 15% lower than we are right now. We're still seeing gains on those things. And so because of that, we're not, unloading the bags into it, but we're definitely starting to pick some more up right here. And that's kind of how I'm ending out the week. And so again, I just wanted to give you a quick update, letting you guys know exactly where this market was at. And remember, this is a brand new channel, only 2 weeks old, and we have a goal of 1,000 subscribers by October. So if you do find this content valuable, if it helps you catch up on crypto and get a better understanding of where we are in the market from a fundamental perspective, you can always let me know by not only subscribing to the channel and liking this video, but also commenting down below your favorite crypto currently. And if you're buying, if you're selling, if you're holding, longing, shorting, let us know down there. It helps out the channel a ton, and I can't wait to have a conversation with you down there as well. But of course, I hope you guys do have a fantastic Friday, and I can't wait to see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.